So I was hoping, because to me the best part about any Pokemon Stadium game is definitely the mini games. We could do some mini games to hook it up. Have you? So you've obviously played Stadium 1. Have you ever played the mini games on Stadium 1?
Never.
They
Never
are
played them.
they are the best part of the game.
Okay.
So every single game has controls that are different, and every single game will tell you what the controls are, and it will give you time to like test each button.
Okay.
So basically what it did is it rolled to decide what the winner of this match will get. And then it shows you kind of like a preview. So it's going to randomly select one. I don't know why it's random. I always like to pick my own.
That's fair.
This is a great game. This is basically, it's kind of like Simon Says.
Okay.
There's some falling eggs that Chansey needs to get, and there's some falling Voltorbs that you just don't want to get.
Alright.
And they'll either come left, center, or right. Pick up the eggs, don't pick up the Voltorbs.
Got
and you'll be fine.
Do you have anything planned for Halloween? Like any costumes?
Congratulations on winning, first of
Thanks.
all. But great
Thank you.
question. And then I love this part. It's just so funny. You just drop all of them.
Yeah.
Just
I won. Don't even need
I
them.
won. Didn't even have to. I actually have kind of like a pastime every year. I do Rocky Horror, and I've been doing that for about 5 or 6 years. I love to dress up as Dr. Frankenfurter because he is a slut, and so am I.
That's fair. I actually saw on your Instagram when you dressed up, I want to say last year, and you posted a picture that was like, I see you dripping with Antissa. Peace.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh my god. We were talking
so
about that
much.
at work, and we were all just like, dedication. Like, good job on him.
I waited, and I waited, and I waited.
If I lose this one, I don't know what else to think. Oh, okay.
Oh no.
Wait. Okay. What? I'm the
drop a cyclone. Drop a cyclone. Get in front of somebody, and then just
got it.
Oops.
I feel like I don't know. These controls feel so strange to me.
Yeah.
I'm just running.
There's another game I really love. It's a Micro Machines game for the N64, and it's really fun. But you control it from a static perspective, which is hard because literally, if you want to go up or you want to go left, like you have to press that button to go that way, or else. I can't even tell what place I'm in.
All right. I think I figured out what my issue was. All except the down part of my D-pad does not work, so I've just been running into walls. That's why. Yep.
Oh no! Now you have to catch up. Oh no!
I'm like 7 laps behind. It's just gonna take like 5 more. Why did I put?
You do go a little bit faster when you push out the cyclones, I think. So you can, and you get one every time you make a lap.
Okay.
Oh, what?
Yeah,
How did I lose? So basically,
Okay.
all you have to do is press the A button.
Okay.
A log's going to fall in front of you. I think it's funny that we're all scythers. Usually there are some scythers and there's some pincers.
Okay.
All you have to do is press A and cut the white line. So you can see right here where the line's going to be.
Okay.
And it's going to fall fast, so it's like an old Western watch. And your goal is to cut it as close as possible. Oh, wow. Very nice.
There was a minigame in Kirby's Superstar that was very similar to this.
Oh, I'm in trouble. I thought this was going to be the game I win at. Damn.
Don't mean to like even mess you up even more, but like, so there's a story that I was hoping you'd tell on the channel. You picked up a hitchhiker a little while ago?
I did in fact pick up a hitchhiker. So a little bit back of a background. I'm a moron. But another big thing that most of my friends will say is that I will always go out of my way to help someone if I'm able to help them. So whether it be I see someone walking down the road, and like obviously like their car's out of gas or whatever it is, I'll pull over and I'll just really like politely be like, hey, do you need any help? Whatever it is. I was helping one of my friends move from Oklahoma to California, and I drove a U-Haul literally just due west. Like I went south to Abilene, I think, and then we turned west, and we stayed on the same highway the entire time. And then as a way of saying thanks, she's like, hey, I'll either buy you a plane ticket or rent a car. And I was like, okay, well, I'll rent a car and I'll go on like a road trip. That'll be fun. That'll be sick. And she's like, all right, cool. So I picked up the car and I head out, and then I go, basically I aim to go to Arizona to meet up with some friends that I met on Instagram, actually, like a bunch of cosplayers. Okay. Shout out to my fam. So I am on the way to, I want to say like Tucson, and I stop at this gas station to fuel up, and as soon as I park, like immediately, this woman approaches me and she's like, hey, excuse me, sorry to bother you, and she seemed like super normal. Like I gotta like be insistent to like remind everyone that she seemed super normal, 100%. Like no way did she indicate to me that like she was insane, at least in the beginning. It was like dating someone. Like they never tell you they're crazy going into it. So she's like, hey, can you give me a ride? And I was like, well, you know what? Yeah, sure, I can do that. I can do that. I'm only going to Arizona for right now. So she gets in the car and I was like, do you have any bags or anything you need to go get? Because I figured she'd been on the road for a minute. And she was like, no, I don't have anything. At the time I was like, well, that's kind of weird. And then I'm like, so, like, where are you from? Blah, blah, blah. And that was a mistake. See, I should have just shut my mouth. I should have just driven her for a while. And I shouldn't have said anything. But unfortunately for me, I got to hear this woman's life story. But at the time, I was incredibly afraid for my life. So it's important to mention to anyone who's like, oh man, he's being a dick to this poor sick lady. I tried my best, guys. I really tried my best. But anyway, so she starts talking to me, and she's telling me, like, the most insane stuff you've ever heard in your life. Like she has psychic powers, and she has visions of the past and of the future, and she can, like, astrally project and, like, visit her family members, but not the ones that are, like, currently alive. Like the ones that are, like, dead, like, for hundreds of years. She can, like, visit them. And she, like, named all these random people that she was related to, like, in history. Like, she was related to Amelia Earhart for some reason. And just, like, a bunch of other random stuff. And, like, she said all this stuff about, like, how she, how, like, her mother, like, knew all these famous people. And her mother, knew the Pink Power Ranger. But we're driving, and this woman's telling me, like, increasingly terrifying shit. Like, the more comfortable she got with me, the more willing she was to tell me, like, the most outlandish things you've ever heard. Like, in one of her worst visions, she, what happened? Oh my god, it was like, she saw a vision of her own head, like, decapitated? Decapitated. Okay. Thank you. I was like, what's the word that means no head? She was, like, decapitated in the desert, and she saw her own head, and I'm like, oh, that's not good.
That you don't want that.
That's not gonna work. That's not what you want at all. Anyway, so, like, time passes, and I'm becoming, like, increasingly afraid, because she just, like, won't stop talking. Like, she just, like, is telling me some of the weirdest stuff. And I'm so afraid she's gonna be like, hey, so I have great news. And I'll be like, oh, wow, what's that? And she'd be like, oh, well, you get to go to heaven. And then she just, like, grabs the steering wheel and yeets me off the highway. I'm like, I'm not dying out here. I am not dying out in the freaking desert. So, after a little bit, she tells me, oh, hey, by the way, I've decided that I don't want to go to so-and-so anymore. And I was like, Oh, really? Is that so? You don't want to go to... She wanted to go to Montana. No.
Okay.
She wanted to go to Colorado. And I was like, oh, you don't want to go to Montana anymore. That's terrifying. Please tell me why. And she's like, well, I've decided that instead of Montana, I want to... instead of Colorado, I want to go to Montana. And I was like, oh, okay. And she's like, yeah, because that's where my grandma lives. And I was like, okay, someone can, like, help this woman. Okay, perfect. And I asked her, I was like, so, like, what city in Montana does your grandma live in? Because at this point, I'm like, I'm going to, like, buy her a train ticket or a plane ticket, or I don't care. Like, I'm going to do something.
You're just getting it out.
I'm just done at this point. I can't do it anymore. And she's like, oh, what do you mean? And I was like, what do you mean, what do I mean? Like, where does she live? And she's like, in Montana. And I'm like, what's her address? I don't know. What city does she live in? I don't know. What city would you like me to drop you off in, or get you to? And she's like, I don't care. And at this point, I'm like, please, you're giving me an aneurysm. Like, just get out of my car. Like, respectfully, ma'am, please leave me alone and never talk to me again. Oh my god, I'm like, what is it like? You're not staying with me, bitch. I don't know where you're going with this, but
I'm not going to Montana.
You gotta leave, but you can't stay here. Like, and I'm like, okay, let me like, hey Google, what's the biggest city in Montana? And it was like, Billings is the biggest city in Montana. And I was like, how about that? How about Billings? And she's like, yeah, that's perfect. I'll go to Billings. I was like, you didn't even know that was a city a minute ago, so whatever, go for it, yeah. And I looked up, Greyhound stations near me, and there was a Greyhound station like 20 minutes away. So then I like double, triple confirmed. I made sure that there was a route taking her from this Greyhound to that Greyhound. And I'm like speeding, I'm just trying to leave, I'm just trying to escape. And we pull up, and I like tell her, I was like, oh hey, I'm gonna run in, use the bathroom, like take a minute, like collect yourself. And I sprint in there, and I go directly to the corner, because she doesn't have an ID. That was like a big thing I was worried about. She doesn't have an ID, so I don't know if they're gonna let her, like,
just
you know what I mean? Bus. Like, just get on this bus. Like, I'm worried. And they're like, yeah, sure, as long as your money's good here, you can get on whatever bus you want. And I was like, oh, excellent, okay. And then I like casually walk back outside, and I'm like, so the bathroom in there is spotless and very clean. Anyway, yeah, we're ready. We're ready to go. We're ready to get it right. And then we walk in. I grab $200 out of my wallet, and I just walk in, and I was like, one ticket from wherever the hell we are, Arizona, to Billings, Montana, please. And she's like, okay, that'll be 100 and blah 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 blah. And I just literally like put $200 on the counter. Laura, like, I give it to the girl, and then I'm just like, good luck, drive safe, don't call me.
Don't call me.
I'm out of money. And I just left. Like, I literally left, and I drove like a few miles away because I didn't want her to like decide she didn't want to go and that she wanted to stay with me. Like, I drove far enough away that there's no way she could walk there.
Like, she comes back, she's like, you're so exactly much nicer than the people on the bus. I'll just
yeah, exactly. Like, I'm not going to let that happen. Like, no, ma'am, absolutely not. So I literally get far enough away, and then I just record this video. Where I share with my people, in case she does hunt me down, I share with my people what happened and, like, exactly what went on. And it was so, like, I got so many messages. About it. And if you go on my Instagram, the story's still up there. It's highlighted the champion. It's highlighted the hitchhiker story. So you're absolutely welcome to go watch it. There's a lot more details, and I'm not distracted trying to be the Pokemon master that I am.
Another thing I wanted to ask you, because I've interviewed 3 cosplayers at this point, but all of them have just been on stage in cosplay contests, like showing themselves off. I assume you've been in a cosplayer contest or two?
Many, like dozens, yes.
How does that compare to actually being a part of the con and like being actually on stage to basically host it? Because at the last con we were both at, you were up on stage as Professor Oak, questioning us on Pokemon facts.
Yeah, so it's really, really different. There's kind of like, one of the things I love about cons is everything, there's like this magic to it, there's like this mystique to it, and unless you're one of the people organizing it or administering it or what have you, you've kind of got this whole, like, you don't really know, you're just kind of like, okay, go here, alright, stand in this line, alright, be here at 4 o'clock, whatever it is. Right. So you don't always get to see exactly what people have going on, like, you don't exactly get to see, like, the man behind the man behind the curtain.
Right.
In a manner of speaking. So, one thing I think is really cool about that is, like, getting to see a convention from all the different perspectives, really. And that's, like, a big thing for me. I feel like one day I would love to start my own convention, and I have a couple of ideas how I would like to do it, and different things like that. So yeah, that's my deal. That's what I love about it. So basically, from a cosplayer's perspective, for anyone who's considering getting into cosplay, considering doing, their first cosplay contest, it's a super great experience, and I highly recommend it, especially if you are a beginner. If you are just starting out in cosplay and you've just, made your first costume, or you've just, bought a costume for a character that you really like, which both are totally valid. And you want to go to a contest, the biggest thing, it's not a show-off kind of like, look, I'm the best cosplayer here, blah, blah, blah. What it's really about is it's about showing off your costume to fans of the same series. Like, no matter what, like, the whole room is going to be amped up. And even if you feel like, oh no, my costume's not good enough, I'm not good enough to compete, stop thinking that right away. Because literally, in every single costume contest, there is going to be a room full of hundreds of people wanting to see you and wanting to see you go out there and strut your stuff and strike your pose. And I 100% absolutely encourage you to do that. So like, if you're sitting here and you're thinking like, man, I want to cosplay this character, just do it. I don't care how you have to do it. I don't care if you make it out of face paint and torn up t-shirts. Just do it. It will open your mind and will open your life up to so many wonderful people, and you'll just get to learn so much from so many others who have been there before, and it's awesome, and I highly recommend it.
Of those cons, do you have a best and a worst con experience? Understandably so.
I've been to so many. I mean, I probably have literally been to 3 or 4 dozen conventions, so I'm not going to say I found a best one, but I will highlight one that I went to recently that I loved, and that would be MiracleCon, which is the convention that we actually met at, for those watching home. I loved it. I had such a great time. For those of you who don't know, MiracleCon is a convention hosted in Oklahoma City, and it is sponsored by Extra Life, a nonprofit organization that raises money for children's hospitals. And there's a different chapter, in every major city. There's an Extra Life chapter somewhere. And the money that they raise actually stays local in the city. So if you, have some connection and you would want to support Extra Life in your town, I highly recommend checking it out. If you would want to put on a convention with Extra Life in your city and they don't have one, find out, volunteer, help. Love Extra Life. It's a great organization.
Speaking of Extra Life even, we're going to be doing a stream, not this next week, but the week after, on November 9th. And it's going to be a Smash Bros. Tournament that we're going to be having. But the rules will be a bit iffy, such as the audience watching at home will be able to play, such as if they donate probably like $1, maybe $3, they'll be able to change one rule in the game. So like, if they donated before a match and they were like, I only want you two people to only be able to use Ridley, then they can only use Ridley during that next game. It's not as if only one person can donate at a time. It can stack. And from the ideas the people have already heard that I hope will come true, they're a little worried about all the donations that could happen, because the biggest one they're worried about is we're going to have GameCube controllers for each person,
right,
hooked up to the Switch.
Right.
But if someone donates and they're like, no, you're not allowed to use that. You're only to use half of a Joy-Con.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they can do things like that, too. It's not just in-game stuff. Got this.
This is your last
Coming
dude.
in clutch.
It's your last dude.
Motherfucking Vampy. She got this.
Oh, my God. I didn't expect that to work. Good game.
And to you, too. Well, thank you so much for coming and recording this with me.
Yeah, absolutely.
For the people who don't know who you are, do you want to give a plug to your Insta or anything?
Yeah, absolutely. So for anyone else who's curious, or you want to check me out, or you want to talk to me, DM me, ask me questions about cosplay or anything else, my name is RobWayne. I'm an actor, a voice actor, cosplayer, very loud person, and I love meeting new people and talking to people, and my inbox is always open for questions or comments. Thanks so much for having me, man. Really appreciate you.
Thank you. Well, shit.
Bye.